citizens of this country. So God bless you for doing what you've done, and you'll prevail. You will prevail. Thank you very much.
Parents will prevail.
Now, go back 2 years. You could say there is definitely something strange going on. Perhaps a little bit about behind the scenes, how much is going bad behind the scenes, or and people so busy, you keep people so busy, and problems and bullshit, that they can do this kind of thing and hopefully to get away with it. Or some religions would say, would be under some sort of spell, and now it's breaking. A sin spell, all sorts of things like that. Now, why did they get rid of green eggs and ham and stuff like that? Remember how they were talking about standard books like that? And these lefties try to make it out that they were bad. Then these weird-ass lefties go from that and remove these books that pretty much we all grew up with them. I'm not that bad. I haven't heard about it. It depends on how you perceive it. They perceive it in the worstest ways to attack an area, to look like something, to get into an area so they can put their perception in, which now the parents are about to talk about. How shocking is that? Perhaps the disease in these people is true. And if we allow these things to succeed, which is why God has these certain rules, or we make them ourselves logically and sciencely, about what is a problem for real and what should be addressed and what shouldn't. Right? Anyway, let's have a listen to this.
How is it justifiable, ethical, and indeed moral to have books in our elementary, middle schools, and high schools with words so offensive that they're prohibited to be spoken in a public meeting? We're not allowed.
One last thing I would say, because of Hollywood and all the things we've been seeing the last 5 years, right, is that the devil's trying to sneak in. And if he was, or if he was here, what would you see?
To read the books that are currently in our children's libraries because it's obscene, but you voted to put those books back on the shelves.
And the books are so bad, Miss Pittman wasn't even allowed to read them in a public meeting. Every time she tried, it was stopped. So you can't say that it's good for students, but not good to read in a public.
In World War II, Hitler went and burnt everything that gave people more citizen rights. Anything that he believed wasn't his way. Do we see the same pattern happening here?
I would guess most of us in this room
Then he
still
replaced
pledged our
it with
allegiance
his
to
way,
the American flag.
with Mein Kampf and all that kind of stuff.
One nation, only one, and under God. We don't divide people by their color of their skin, and we recognize one God, one higher power.
I'm speaking to you today as a concerned citizen and urge you to listen to parents in this county that are requesting a review of certain books in our schools. Children or minors under the age of 18 are not allowed to purchase cigarettes, liquor, Playboy or Hustler magazines in our local stores, or walk into a XXX theater unchecked and watch a movie. However, there is currently in our school libraries, which I have seen and read, that have quite explicit sexual language and illustrations in them.
Now, a parent that cares and knows that something is a benefit for you, but it's going out of control, will figure out a way to still able to use that benefit and spend time with you. That's what love is. Love takes time. Parents that don't care, they will just take it away.
I recently also learned that the school board does not allow the reading of passages from these books in these public meetings,
As it's easier.
dubbing them as obscene. Truly, I was surprised at this, and it is the reason that prompted me to speak up today.
And
How
I'll
is it
replace it
justifiable,
with a just is.
ethical, and indeed moral to have books in our elementary, middle schools, and high schools with words so offensive that they are prohibited to be spoken in a public meeting? Would you say the same thing about the pictures that appear, the illustrations that appear in some of these books? If I show them to you, would you be offended and ask me to put them away and keep them hidden? Then why do we have them available for underage children to view? What happened to protecting our children's innocence? In conclusion, I have 3 simple points. Number 1, I urge you to listen to the parents here trying to do the right thing in protecting their children from topics that are too adult-like and mature for their age. It is
Now, I understand that the Discovery Channel they have, I mean, they ain't nothing but mammals, aren't they? Right? Kids are going to find out what they need to find out. They will find out. If they want to find out, depends on what group they hang around with. If you decide to just give it to them all at once and try to make it like kids are adults so they can be respectable with certain things, you are wrong. And so you got to make it so they're not meant to have it. When they're not meant to have it, they'll do it not much. It's like bad guys out there. You know? We know it's a not right thing to do, then you won't do it as much. And when you do it, you'll be careful because you know why it's not right. As you ask questions about why it's not right. When they're not right, you might go, well, that's not right, and do something different. But if it's right, the way they're teaching you about science and ethical and rightness, right, you'll realise that something is right and that maybe you shouldn't be doing something as much as you do. And it gets you thinking, you see. But the other way, well, they're just putting it in your face.
their right as parents to protect their children from words and pictures that they are not yet mature enough to process. Number 2, I want to express my support for this board's policy and procedures regarding these books and urge all of you on the board to please support it, but more importantly, to deliver on it. I thank you all in advance, as I am assuming that you will all do the right thing and remove books from our school libraries that include mature sexualized content. These books should be vetted and reviewed and removed. And last, I urge you to edit the citizen input guidelines so that parents and the community may have
Just
meaningful
started
and fruitful
yelling today.
discussions on this topic. Nothing is accomplished by putting our heads in the sand
Not
so
sort of
that you
touch.
don't have to see what is happening. Thank you for listening.
I wanted to speak today on the DeSantis hit list or target list. I don't like that the media is calling it that, and DeSantis didn't call it that. We're holding our elected officials accountable.
Have a good one, everybody. And see you later. Set up a bell.